Hi everyone, it's Mike here with you guys once again, and if you're wondering why I don't make videos a lot, well, I just haven't really been into it lately. I've had topics whirling in my head to talk about. I just haven't felt compelled to do them for some reason. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I do have a couple topics in my head that I wanted to discuss. I'll do one of them here. And the topic that I'm going to discuss here in this video is, of course, Halloween related, and it's about VR horror and what I think about it, basically. Now, if you haven't tried VR yet, this may not make sense to you, but if you have tried VR and you've played horror in VR, then you might be able to relate to this. But this is the point that no one's really said, that I have not heard anyone brought up, that I think needs to be said. Because I think it's an important point. So what is that point? Well, to understand that, to get to that point, I need to discuss my first time playing horror in VR, and that was when it was Saturday morning. It was a bright Saturday morning, and I was playing a game called Here They Lie. And Here They Lie, I played first on a flat screen, tried it on a flat screen, and I hated it. I despised it because I thought that the stealth mechanics weren't implemented very well. However, I tried it in VR, and the experience was completely different. I felt, not only was I absolutely scared, my first initial thought was that flat screen horror is done. Now, obviously, I don't think it actually is, because I think that when it comes to storytelling, there's always going to be a place for flat screen horror, whether it's film, certain games. But I think that when it comes to scaring people, if you want flat screen horror to scare you, it's going to be a lot harder for it to do, because VR just takes it to a whole new level. And the way I felt when I played Here They Lie in VR was a feeling that I hadn't had since I was a kid. It was a feeling that happened a lot to me when I was little, but as an adult I never really felt, and hadn't felt in years. And that feeling is the idea that something may be too intense for you. One of my biggest gripes with horror films, in fact, this is my biggest gripe of horror movies, is that, for the most part, they don't scare me. Now, I enjoy them. I enjoy a good one if it's a well-made film with a great story, but as far as scaring me is concerned, the point of horror is to frighten you. I don't get that from movies. I don't. They don't work on me that way. So when people talk about horror movies and how scared they are, I'm like, I mean, The Exorcist, when I saw it in a theater, did not scare me. None of the Freddy films have scared me. Most horror movies, for the most part, there are very, very few exceptions that there might be a film that might unsettle me a little bit. But as far as scary, Alien did not scare me. Now, some of you are probably watching this and going, what are you talking about? This film's terrifying. Well, I remember seeing Ghost Story as a kid and being scared to death of it that I couldn't finish it. In other words, horror films scared me as a kid, but they don't scare me today. That is a feeling that I hadn't had in a long time until horror came to VR. And it's so effective, it's so intense. VR horror is so intense that there are countless moments where I go, I want to play Rush of Blood, but something holds me back. What is it? Fear. And the fear that something is too intense for you. The fear that you get when you're little and you want to watch something that you're not old enough for, but you can't because you're not old enough for it. You're not mature enough for it. That's a feeling that has gone away, that goes away when you grow up. But because of this new immersive technology, it's not really new technology, but it's new in terms of regular people experiencing it. It's new for us, for the most of us, that it brings that old feeling back. That old feeling you got when you were a kid that something is too intense for you. So in a way, VR horror makes you feel like a kid again. So a lot of times I think when adults read articles about what kids can handle and what they can't, adults do two things. They either overreact or they underreact a lot of times. They either overprotect the kid, won't let them see anything scary, or they let them see a little more than they should. And what I think VR horror does, and what it can do for adults, is remind them of what it feels like to be a kid, and that, I think, can help gain parents some perspective on what their kids can and can't handle. And I think that is important. I think that's another thing that VR can help us with as a culture. VR horror in particular. In other words, it reconnects us to how children feel and makes us feel that way again. Look at Five Nights at Freddy's. When that game came out originally, kids were freaking out. But adults were like, that's just nothing but jump scares. It's a waste of time. It's kiddie crap. That's not real horror. Screw that. Play PT. It's better. But when Five Nights at Freddy came to VR, now adults are freaking out. They are now saying that it is one of the scariest experiences ever. In other words, Five Nights at Freddy's in VR allows us to feel the way that kids felt when they played the game when it first came out. So now we can empathize with children in a way we couldn't before, thanks to horror in VR. So that is just another victory for VR as a platform, and I think it deserves credit for it, and I think we ought to look into that because, man, no one has talked about this. There have been adults that have said on YouTube that this didn't affect them until they played it in VR, but no one's ever connected this point. No one's made this underlying point, which is the point of it all. And that's the point of this video. So that's my VR horror thought that I wanted to share with everyone. I hope everyone is having a happy horror day. I call Halloween Horror Day because that's what it is. It's a celebration of nerd culture, of cosplay in particular, and of horror. So it's a win for both. Hopefully I will do another video soon, but who knows? It might be years or months again. Who knows? But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.